welcome to Scrappin with Sheri and page 47. I am starting today with some pre-designed pages. I cannot remember the name of the collection they came out of. I think it was called The Great Outdoors. It was just a little mini collection. It's just a white on the back with some trees, some kind of interesting shaped trees. But I like this green here, and that's what I'm really going for. But my sketch shows this wave here. So I do want to add the wave, and I'm going to add that over this part in the center because I am making this into a 2-page spread. So I'm going to pull my decorative trimmer. We don't give this one enough love, but, you know, try more in 24. We're going to use it. Now, they've used it with some beach watery pictures, and because of that, they use this really big wave. I'm just going to use this swell right here to do mine. And I am working with a scrap of this orangey color from the Left Behind collection, Nothing Left Behind. And I really like it. And my problem is I need to use it for several different elements on this page. So they call for a 3-inch piece here. Mine is not going to be that wide. And in fact, I may not even cover all of this beigey in the middle. I think what I'm going to do is use this border. It's just a nice swell. It's not as wavy. And I'm going to put my paper right to the edge of this and just cut that and see how it looks. And I think what I'm going to do is just add it right there because I just want a little bit of this orange. I don't want a ton of it. And then I'm going to use my 12-inch trimmer to cut off this side and make those even, and then we'll go on with the rest of the page. You know, I keep telling you, you don't have to use every element of the sketch. Just pick a few. Pick what you like out of it. Leave the rest alone. And when you're starting with pre-designed pages, it's a little bit different too. So I've got these borders. Now, I like that. It gives me some good color without being too much, but I did need a little bit of this orangey back in there. You know, every photo from this trip out west just seems to need a little bit of that orangey look to it. And I haven't used anything with a ton of green before, but when I pull my pictures over, you're going to see why I chose to use some green. And we will be seeing a little more green because Capitol Reef had a lot more greenery than the other parks that we visited. All right, so it looks like we took a lot of work to do that, but all we've done is have that wavy border. Now, there is a border that goes along the bottom. I am not sure why they chose to cut that off here, and I'm not going to do mine exactly like that. But I wanted to pull in a little blue as well, and I didn't feel like the blue showed up well against this, so I'm going to mat it on this orangey color. Now, I'm going to go ahead and cut my strips for this. And I'm going to do 2 of these blue borders. Now, the border itself is a little less than 1 inch. So when I cut my strip, I'm going to go about 1.25 inches just to give me a little more of that orangey background. Still have a piece of that left. I just keep using it over and over. It just keeps multiplying. I'm going to pull my silicone mat and my repositionable tape and adhere these borders. Now, that's a pretty look on the back, too. That kind of matches along with this. But I wanted to add just a little bit of blue in, just because my photos have a little bit of sky. And if you don't know me at all, blue is my very favorite color. So most of my pages have some blue on them somewhere. All right, so we've got our 2 borders. Pretty even. And their border just kind of stopped in oblivion. I'm not sure why. Now, I'm going to make mine stop at this orange right here. So I'm going to tape it down with my regular tape, and then I'm just going to cut off that outside edge. Once we get this finished, we'll have all the basic elements of this sketch down. It'll just be a matter of adding our photos on there. And, you know, my photos are not going on the way theirs do either. All right. So I'm just going to flip these, pull my 12-inch trimmer back over. Knock my sketchbook in the floor. And we'll just trim these two off. Okay, so I decided that I would put the wavies in the middle. It's so funny because it looks like we waved this, and look how pretty they match. But we actually did the wave on the orange. So let's check our sketchbook one more time. We've got the wavy edge that we did. We've got a border along the bottom. So the only other thing left to do really is to add our photos. This will show you why I chose the colors I did. I wanted the orange in there. There are a little more trees in this than we've seen in some of our other pictures. So I decided to bring out some of that green. And in the sketchbook, it shows their pictures going wonky wonky. They've got a journal box. This is still part of the Hickman Bridge that I had done another 2-page spread on. But I really wanted to incorporate these pictures. I don't really want these going wonky all over the place. So I'm just going to leave them straight as is on this page. Now, this ended that particular trip. I mean, not that trip, but that particular area of the Hickman Bridge. And I could have actually added some peekaboo pockets and just done these 3 pictures on that other page. But I really like the look of the pictures. I wanted them to stand out a little bit. And I think the green really enhances these pictures, whereas I've not used much green before. So I really like the look of this. Now for my facing page, we moved on to another site just down the road. Now, in the journaling that I had done on the other page, I mentioned that it was starting to get stormy as we were walking out to this bridge, this natural bridge. The sky was getting darker and darker. We started getting rained on. The path I was really concerned was going to be very slippery. We rushed to get back down to the bottom. And then we drove around pretty much the rest of the day because it was just kind of a washout. But in driving around, we saw this old schoolhouse, and it was called the Fruta Village. And Fruta is actually on this rock here. And I wouldn't necessarily have to keep that picture because I have the rock here. But I like it that it shows what was right behind the school there. You got the little school building. Here's the inside of it. And then we've got the big mountains in the background, and I like that. Now, how could I cut some of this down because it's a little too much, and you know I want to get these 4 pictures on this page. I would like to keep the photos over on the green area if possible. So I think I could cut this rock down, and that just kind of highlights that Fruta is there. So I'm going to cut this photo down. You may have noticed too that my white borders are not as big around these as they have been on a lot of the other pages. And that's because I went ahead and cut down some on the white borders just to make them a little bit smaller. So let's just cut this Fruta rock down a little bit. Fruta was the name of this village. We didn't really know that until we went and watched a movie on it while we were escaping the rain. But apparently lots of people came into this area and they started orchards and they farmed, and this apparently was a really nice place, kind of a thriving area at one point in time, and they had a need for a little schoolhouse. I am going to cut a little off the bottom of that one and scoot it up some just to get rid of a little excess, not a lot. Let's take this on. Gives us the space. Get that white up enough. This gives us the space to actually see some green around here. And it pulls out the green that's in these photos. Now, if you're just joining us, don't think that I mat these all in white and then I mess them all up and cut them down and all this. These were matted in white from the developer. That's been mentioned several different times, but if you're new to us, you may not have seen a video with that on it. And occasionally I have to cut them down a little bit to make them fit my space or my layout or whatever. But overall, I would say for this trip, the white matting has been very useful. a major time saver for me, because so many of the pictures I would have had to mat to make them stand out further. And I knew that these pictures were going to be really pretty because of the scenery. And I just wanted to make them look as good as possible. And I think the white really helped with that. Now, I think I mentioned to you, I bought the little scrapbooking pack at this Capitol Reef Park. And there were some stickers that came along with that. And this Fruta is here. There's one that says history. That's good. So we might put those on. But you know what? I think we probably need to put them over to this side so they'll show up a little bit. Let's see. This one says nature walk, which could work over here. I'll stick that one there a minute. I would really like one more here, and I think we'll do explore here. And I'm going to pull my foam squares for these. If I had my favorites, I would put this over here instead, but I just don't feel like it shows up well enough, and I don't want to take the time to do any matting or anything like that with these little tile blocks. I buy these because they're quick and easy. So we're going to do Fruta here, and then history, and then explore. If you have ever been in this part of the country, this is in Utah, and have not seen this little schoolhouse, it was really neat. And I used to be a teacher. I taught kindergarten and first grade. And the thing I liked best about this particular place, you couldn't go in the schoolhouse. We looked at it through the window, but they had a board here that told about it, but you could push the buttons and you could listen to the stories of the people who had attended this school, you know, over 100 years ago. They had recorded their voices, and it was so neat to hear them tell about what it was like to be in that little school and the conditions in which they learned. So I was very interested in that. We'll do this outdoor nature walk, not outdoor. We'll do that right over here. And that completes another 2-page spread. So what do you think? If we look at our initial layout, we got the main elements, the wave and the border. We didn't do our pictures wonky like they did. I added a few stickers, not a lot of embellishments. But that's page 47 completed as a 2-page spread. So until I see you next time, happy scrapping.